Okay, well, welcome to Tuesday Tips. I need to come up with a fancy name for this Tuesday training. Been doing it for about 6 months now, maybe even a little longer. Time flies when you're having fun. But hopefully folks find it helpful, and I do try to have a theme of the month. This month's theme is all about stress because we all have it in some way, shape, or form. And especially in this point in our lives, it seems to be either very little because, things are good, or, you might be going through that season in your life where you've got elderly parents. You've got teenagers or kids going off to college, or you're kind of getting used to what it feels like to be an empty nester, or you could be going through any other kind of life change. And anytime there are big changes, what usually comes along with that is stress. And even just day to day, our lives are stressful. So today, I just wanted to talk about the ways that you can manage stress, to deal with stress. It's not going to go away. But in the grand scheme of things, what I have found, especially since I really have dialed my health in, specifically around my nutrition and my sleep, is that if you can get a handle on the things that you can control, which is what you're putting into your body, how you're moving your body, what time you're going to bed, just working on the food quality, the quantity of food, the macronutrients, and just putting into place some stress management techniques as well. And all of these things just add up to what you can control versus the other things that you can't control, which tend to really be the cause of stress, unless you've got some sort of, disease, cancer, heart disease, whatever that you really don't have control over. But it's still important to control the things that you can control so that you don't feel completely out of control. That's a lot of controls. But anyway, I have 8 things that you can do to help manage stress. And the first and foremost is something that I've done since I was a kid, and that is regular physical activity. We know that physical activity can definitely release or reduce stress by releasing endorphins, right? And endorphins are that natural high, the natural mood elevators. But exercise can also help with your sleep. It can also boost your energy and promote overall health. The recent statistic that I saw was if you regularly exercise, you can actually extend your life by a decade. That was the most recent statistic that I saw. So if you're like me and you're gunning for 100 or a healthy 90, whatever that looks like for you, incorporating just regular resistance training, making sure that you're walking, doing some cardiovascular activity, and even yoga for stress. I just started last week attending some hot yoga, and I'm just finding that I just feel my body feels better, especially because everything else that I do is so yin, bang, the body. So you do need that opposing form of exercise in stretching, walking, and something that's not such an intense version of exercise. Number 2, and if I had to flip-flop these, I would probably put sleep at the top, but I didn't. So these are not in order of importance. Healthy diet, and I mentioned that just a few seconds ago. How important your nutrition is, and making sure that you are eating mostly nutrient dense foods. And even our foods that we used to eat, maybe that our parents used to cook for us, they have all changed in the way that they're processed. Even our soil has changed. So, keeping in mind that healthy diet is super important, but you may also need to then supplement with additional vitamins and minerals if your blood work detects that. And that is definitely something that you can look into. But just eating a balanced diet of nutrient-dense foods that include lots of fruit, plenty of vegetables. We do need the whole grains to get fiber in as well. Your lean protein, so like your chicken breast, your ground turkey, your lean fishes, your lean cuts of beef, and then healthy fats, your olive oils, your coconut oils, your avocado oils, and supplementing with just a little bit of nuts that are healthy for you. You just have to watch the quantity of them. And then just doing your best to limit your caffeine intake to maybe 1 to 2 servings a day. Again, limiting alcohol, as we just don't have the digestive enzymes to process that as we used to when we were younger. And spicy foods, which can trigger hot flashes and also intensify mood swings for some women. I did put together a document on foods to avoid during menopause. So if that's something that you haven't seen and you're interested in, just shoot me a message and let me know. I've also got a couple of things on the 10 key nutrients and adaptogens that are helpful to support a healthy diet. Number 3, relaxation techniques. So practicing relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, yoga, any kind of stretching, anytime that you can actually just take a moment to literally breathe, right? Be in the present moment is going to help your emotional well-being and will help you to manage stress. Number 4, which in my opinion should really be number 1, is adequate sleep. So getting enough sleep, I can't stress this enough. If you do not do well with sleep, I highly recommend really diving into why aren't you getting the sleep and what are some of the things that might work for you, and just really trying to hone in, because everybody is different on what might work for you, but it is optimal to get anywhere from 7 to 9 hours a day or night. And that actually does decrease as we age. And by age, I mean beyond menopause, our sleep starts to get worse. That's why you might, if you have an elderly parent and you're hanging out with them in the middle of the day, you might notice that they're starting to doze off. That starts to happen. We kind of circle of life go back to not sleeping quite as long, but sleeping more throughout the day. There's a great book by Arianna Huffington on sleep. I read that many years back. And there's also a doctor, his name is the Sleep Doctor. He's got a quiz out there. If you just Google the Sleep Doctor, you can take that quiz and see to determine what kind of sleeper you are. I think I was some kind of bear. I don't know. I took it a couple of weeks ago, but I don't have an issue with sleep generally. But I've also worked on that, and it's critical to set that same bedtime and same wake time as the initial way to work on your sleep hygiene. And then, just setting up a bedtime routine. I know I've talked about that in the past, can also help. And again, caffeine and alcohol. If you are having trouble sleeping, I would cut your caffeine off as early in the day as possible. And also just watch your alcohol intake. If you are going to have a drink at night, try to have it with food. so that it's not just straight alcohol going right to your blood system, your bloodstream. Your body will process it a little bit better if it's drank with some protein, fiber, and fat. Number 5, just establishing a support system, right? You got to have those people around you, friends, family, your significant other, or some kind of support group like this one that can help you provide support during this transitional phase in our lives, right? You know, everybody is going to experience perimenopause and menopause differently, but it sure is great to be able to come to one place and, you know that there are a bunch of other women, close to 500, as a matter of fact, that are going through the same period of time, and they can be having the same experiences. And there are a plethora. If I had to list all of the common symptoms of menopause, it would go definitely into double digits. So again, everybody kind of experiences that differently, but having that support system, making sure that you have, you know, a bestie that you can talk to about what you're going through. Sometimes our male counterparts don't really understand, nor do some of them have the ability to really be emotionally available in this capacity and in the way that we need. If you have a good one, you're lucky. Hang on to that. If not, it might be worth having a conversation saying, you know, hey, this is the shit show that's going on in my life right now. And especially if you are trying to make changes, just knowing or letting them know what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and kind of having that conversation ahead of time can be super helpful. And, you know, they don't know what's going on in our head or in our body, nor will they ever really be able to understand it, because they have completely different physiology and will not go through the things that we go through. So just having those open and honest conversations with them, and you know, making sure that we have their support. Number 6, hormone therapy. Just had a conversation with the gynecologist about this today. Definitely want to do your research. You need to know what your background is as far as your mom and your sisters or anybody in your family. But we've talked about this in the past as well, how it was probably sometime in the 80s, maybe 90s, where that study came out that said hormone therapy is bad, 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 causes cancer. They debunked that whole study, and it's definitely becoming more and more common. There are lots of different things that you can try. I highly recommend doing your research. I know I had Becky out here. She's a nurse practitioner. She's all for seed implants, but now the FDA has also approved forms of HRT that you can get from your gynecologist. So it's always best to do your research and see what might work for you. There are known benefits that within that 10-year time frame of menopause, that if you do go on HRT, you may see improvements in your bone density, and it may also be really good for your heart health. So for me, I'm going to try one particular kind of estrogen that is not systemic in nature, so the side effects will be hopefully less. Going to try that for a couple months and just see. So anyway, HRT is definitely an option. I would just really encourage everybody to make sure you do your own research. And if you have any questions on where to go, just please ask. There's lots of books out there. There's lots of doctors that I would trust. And as always, there is the North American Menopause Society NAMS.org that you can go to get more information, especially on your doctors too. Number 7, self-care, super important. As women, we do not do this, especially as women who are moms, wives, daughters. We are literally at the bottom of the totem pole. So making sure that we are taking time for self-care, and that could look different for everybody, right? It could be going outside and going on a hike, could be paddleboarding, it could be going out for some retail therapy, it could be massage, could be going away for a weekend with somebody. So just some way to take care of yourself, could even be massage, manicure, pedicure, to help with reduction of stress and just improving your overall well-being. And then number 8, this one's tough, mindfulness, right? Practicing mindfulness, which is, as I mentioned just a little earlier, just trying to put ourselves present in the moment, without thinking, I should be doing this, or why haven't I been able to do this? Trying not to judge yourself, just literally sitting and staring out into space, focusing on your breath. Again, I like to go to the beach or even to a park or just someplace that is quiet, that I can just sit and not even really think necessarily, but just sit there and enjoy being alive, and not stressing about something in the moment. And it can just help you achieve more balance and more calm in your life when you're trying to manage stress. Stress during menopause is definitely something that is physiological. And that is why if you can try to add in some of the things that I mentioned above as a daily practice and daily habits, you may find that your stress level decreases. I've talked about cortisol before, and the fact that stress is directly related to cortisol. Cortisol is directly related to belly fat. Belly fat is directly related to heart disease, diabetes, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like a big giant spiral. So I would probably, if I said number 1 is sleep, number 2 would be stress management. And then I'd put nutrition and fitness after that. So any questions? If you guys have any that are live on Zoom, you can take yourself off mute, raise your hand, whatever that might look like for you. Coming back into the meeting. Any questions regarding stress management? Next week, I'm actually going to do a stretching class. I'll try to keep it to 20 or 30 minutes. So hopefully folks will jump on and join. But if there's not any questions live, I'm going to go ahead and end. Let me just double check if anybody's out there in Facebook land. No comments. All right. Let me end this, stop the recording.